Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a daily chart review. Now, you might notice that I changed my theme here, and in honor of that, this is a retro wave theme that are going on. In honor of that, we're gonna play a little retro wavy style music. Okay. Hope you enjoy. Now let's get to the chart. So this is an hourly chart. Let's do a little cleanup. So before we do that, let's just look at what happened during the day. So last night during the stream, we were, where were we? Around here somewhere, right? The plan, or what we wanted to see from that, mainly looking at a 4 hour. We were looking at, let's get back to where we were. Friday, Sunday. Okay, so we had this like on Thursday, this drop closed under swing low. It's a market structure shift, sort of, kind of ish. Friday we made a retracement back up. You know, we're definitely still in a bullish overall move, but swept some lows, put in a potential shift, and we were looking to see if price wanted to continue this as a retracement and then come back down. We chopped around a little bit. That's pretty much it today. Took out a couple of internal liquidity levels. Nothing really external other than previous high day. It was just a sweep. And now it looks like we are heading up to some other targets. So let's do a little cleanup. We'll take off previous high day. This BSL target that we swept. This gap top. This is a weekly gap. I'm gonna leave it in there. Take off midnight price. Previous low of the day. We can keep that. That's still a little bit of a target. In the next coming days. New week opening gap was right here. I mean, you could say we sort of, it was a little bit of a magnet, I guess. I'm not sure how relevant it actually was. We'll drop down into some lower time frames and see how well we stuck in there. You will notice that there are some gaps that are still holding us up, and once we go into the 1 hour time frame, there's a bullish gap that really has held us up, held ES price up since 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday. Today, I guess today made a couple of dips into that, but overall it held up. Not really putting too much on that, and you know, as you can see, it was rather choppy. Let's drop into a daily chart here. Look at the weekly real quick. Actually, new week opening gap. Nothing really we can get from that other than, you know, we do have this weekly draw. I still do think that is the draw. I just wanted to see if this week we were going to do a little bit of a retrace on like the daily level here. You know, I think this is pretty ambitious, but looking to see if we would want to sweep down here into the order block. Sweep some lows here. Looking at this low as well. We got this high still intact with this wick. Swing high without sweeping this. Just kidding, it did sweep that. Right? Swing high. Sorry, that's not the swing high. This would be the swing high. Sweeping this. Now it's making a move for that as well. In the meantime, we put in swing low. I mean, it's just, we're looking at this range right now. Actually, a little bit surprised that we're making a break up in after hours here. Not quite in, well, technically we are in Asia. 8 o'clock is what ICT calls the Asian range. Start of the Asian range. You can see that here, 8 o'clock. All right, so if we were to leave this high, this could be a potential, like a box setup or something from the consolidation here. So you have very long wicks on the upside, holding that new week opening gap, and now it is moving away from it. So something to keep our eyes on. Long wicks to the downside as well. So yeah, something to just keep in mind. This is rather weak, I think, when you're looking at the hourly. It still looks pretty rangy. I don't know. We certainly could keep pushing up here. We got some equal highs. I thought these highs would be pretty safe, but you know, they are equal highs on the hourly chart, so it's pretty significant, I guess. If you look at it on the 15-minute there, if you drop down even further on like the 5-minute, I mean, it is a fairly clean level there. So sweeping that up would not be shocking. Let's go back to the hourly. Would want to gauge the reaction there from that. This is technically the order block here, right? We are just digging into that again right now. So if you want to keep track of the order block here, I need to do a little bit more work on order block theory, to be honest. But the CE, if you just include the bodies, or mean threshold, not really CE, would be right there, right around those highs. So a sweep, we wouldn't want to see a body closer really above those highs if we're going to keep in this shift downward, potential shift downward. You know, obviously, as we mentioned before, the shift downward did stop at a sweep of lows and kept the main structure active. So, see this little cell model here that never really played out, huh? That's pretty interesting. Buy model there, sorta, kinda. This is more like it. Oops. Okay, so you know, my feeling is still on a consolidation range for tomorrow at the least. Remember, we have a news event Let me pull that up. News event later on in the week. Non-farm payrolls on Friday, but we also have Thursday with initial jobless claims. There's a couple other things at tomorrow at 10 a.m. JOLTS job openings. There's a non-farm employment change, crude oil inventories on Wednesday, 8:15 and 10:30, respectively. I don't think those are going to be that impactful. Initial jobless claims is sometimes. So we'll take a look at that. Non-farm payrolls. And this is the day before non-farm payrolls. So it can be a little weird, slow, choppy. Non-farm payrolls, definitely want to keep an eye on that. 8:30, don't be in stuff at that time, in my opinion. Not my opinion. Other people's opinions that are much smarter and better than me. And from my very limited experience, I would agree. It is pretty volatile. But you can pick up some good moves later on in the day if you know what you're doing. So if you can read what price is going to from that move, usually gives a little bit of a hint what it's going for, but it can just be pretty wild. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about today before we go into what we want to see for tomorrow. So today, if we look at the 15-minute, I got in on two pretty good trades today. The first one being from 9:30, and it was on NQ actually, because NQ took a minute. Sorry, didn't take a minute, but it swept Asia highs. You see how 7 a.m. is when ES swept Asia highs? Well, NQ didn't sweep it, and ES took it, right? It like closed above it and kept going up. NQ at 8:45 a.m. is when it took Asia high. It's this yellow box, the line coming off the top of that yellow box. So on the NQ, I can show you real quick. It's much more of a choppy look of the day. Oof. Bright lights in my face. When I saw this, the take of Asia highs. Now, the weird thing about this take is that it wasn't a swing high. It was just part of this big downward range that happened, this big downward move. So it was a little iffy. I ended up taking a short right after this. We can look on the 5-minute. I took a short based on optimal trade entry. Here, when this wick up happened, I took that and I took it to here, I believe. No, not there. Just down to here. I saw that it was wanting to push up more. So I decided to take the sweep of these lows. There were some fair value gaps here, as you can see. When it wasn't pushing down through those and it started to come back up, I took the sweep of this low as my out. It did come back up and take my ultimate target, which was London low. But at that time, I'd taken my profits and been cool. So it didn't work exactly how I had planned it out, but ended up managing the trade pretty well. Came out with some profits there. It was a great entry. The entry was like way up here on this wick, and then it started pushing down. I thought for sure, yeah, we'll get a little push up maybe, but I thought for sure it was going to just shoot down and take London lows. Didn't end up happening, but it's pretty good anyway. ES had a similar move. However, it did leave London lows. So as soon as I saw that we were having a choppy, rangy day and NQ had taken London lows and ES had not, as soon as ES did, at lunch, you see how it came down, lunch started, and it went and took London lows. Now at this point, Asia, London lows, Asia highs are taken in NQ. We have the full AM range open on NQ. And on ES, it had swept every low. So I actually took a trade at lunch once it... I actually took it on the 1 minute, which is not very common for me. But I saw this wick down, taking the AM lows and the London lows at the same time, put in a little swing high and breaking it with a good displacement. I took that as a signal that we wanted to go for lunch highs. So if you draw a fib on here, optimal trade entry is 0.62 right there. I got in right there. Ended up taking 80% off right here at the high of the range. This is oh god, my mind is blanking, but this is the first target, right? Low hanging fruit, that's what people call it a lot of times. So I took 80% off low hanging fruit, left two runners to try to go here. I put stop loss in profit under this sort of kind of order block. I mean, if it was a real run, I mean, that would be sort of another entry point, right? And it did come down and dip into that. And I thought it was going to take off and grab the high, but ended up not happening. Stopped me out on profit on the last two. Pretty good trade, though. Pretty good trade. Demo ballin', of course. Working on a funding challenge. So, yeah, I mean, you look at this price action. Go to the 5 minute. You look at this price action, you might see that this is a sloppy, choppy mess, but it honestly wasn't too bad. There were clear levels that it was sweeping and putting in pretty solid entry conditions. It did go to sweep again a lot of times, like here. Didn't quite make pushes up like on the lunch highs. Went down to sweep lunch lows first, right? And then it finally caught lunch highs. And then once we got into after hours, it took AM session highs. NQ actually took AM session highs. No, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. It never took AM session highs. But it did take the lunch highs in a similar fashion. It had left those lows from the AM session until the very last 15 minutes of New York time. So, you know, there's opportunities in that. A lot of it's a lot of turtle soup style opportunities when you know that a strong move is just not very likely in either direction, it seemed, and we were a little bit range bound. You might want to look at previous session highs and lows and see, especially when they line up like this. When I saw the lunch sweep and pull back and then displace, I mean, when you look at the 5 minute, it looks pretty not, it doesn't give you confidence, right? Like, it's like this little BPR. However, on the 1 minute, it looked okay, decent enough for a go to at least go get the high here. And I thought this low would be safe until the highs. Obviously, it ended up being incorrect for the big target, but was able to manage trade pretty well and stop out. You know, took the majority of the position off and then stop out in profit. So happy with it, even though it was a little sloppy choppiness. Cool to see it come back down and grab lunch lows before running up and taking PM high, lunch high, the initial target, lunch high, and then taking highs there. So we are currently at a point where most of the internal-ish liquidity has been swept up. There's some lows still hanging in there. I would like to see Asia respect some of these levels if we are going to see any more downside. Sorry, let me put auto on here. You know, sweeping highs, that's all good, whatever. I would like to see some respect of this high here. The order block on the 1 hour, would like that to be respected. If we're gonna take these lows with a little bit of volatility and maybe reach down and sweep down here. And ultimately, I did want to see a sweep down here before putting in some kind of reversal down here only, you know, 45.27 or 45.28, sorry. A sweep of that I think would be great. Now you do see some plus OBs, marked those out last night. One is this order block on the daily. That's like a last line of defense kind of thing for staying in a bullish move on the daily, on the weekly. I did have this on the weekly order block, but I think I moved it to a 4 hour, and I did, yeah. So you see that, and it's actually on a 4 hour here as well, but this order block here, I want to see what kind of reaction we have to that. If it does go all the way down here, it's pretty far down. That would be, you know, if price does come down, this is where I would want to see it respect and react in a way to go back up, if that's going to happen. We're in a consolidation period right now on the daily. I think that makes sense. A consolidation will generally lead to a retracement, a false break, or a continuation, right? I know I've read some of these market structure cycle type things, and I believe the main sentiment is you're not going to go from a consolidation period to a reversal. You're going to have some kind of false break and failure before a reversal, or a continuation, or if we do come down, it will be a retracement, and it's actually gonna respect this bullishness. So that could mean, so that's why I think if we come down, I want this to be respected, and that's, I would look for entries for more upside when it would be testing some of those bullish order blocks. So we'll see how it goes. Right at the moment, what I'm looking for are sweeps of session highs and lows, and then some kind of indication that it's going to go the other way, right? So as you can see right now on ES, we have a session high from New York AM, and we have an attempted break above that, and an immediate red candle back through that. So I would say that's a false break of that level. That's basically the same as a sweep. I like the sweep better when you have a wick that just goes through and comes back. This could just be some kind of consolidation or come back into this level and actually punch through. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to like sweep Asia lows, right? It doesn't require that, I don't think, at this point. I think this is a good sign that we could go and get the lows, and we'd want to look at lower time frames for confirmation of this kind of stuff. As you can see on a 5-minute, we have no clear displacement lower, so that is not leading me to believe it's going for Asia lows at this moment. On the 1 minute, you know, this is, it's sort of hard to read the Asia chart, huh? It's a little easier with NQ, so we can try to see what NQ is looking like, but it's a little bit of a reversal, but consolidation, failed breakout, it's just a come back to the range, you know. Could be a boxy kind of setup and go for Asia lows, but we didn't have the same confluence there on the NQ where we took the highs. In general, lately NQ has been more willing to go lower, right? And ES has been resisting a little bit. Last week, the end of last week, kind of got them back on the same page a little bit. Sorry. With the whole this whole drop, you know, and then the push back up. But yeah, so what are we looking for tomorrow? It's a great question. I was thinking these highs are safe. I don't think that anymore. I would not be surprised if I woke up and those highs were taken. I would like that order block to be respected though. This order block right here. It's the 1 hour. So take those highs, that's fine. But I don't want to see a closer over the middle of this order block here. Okay. If there is, then I think, I mean, look, I say I don't want this. I don't care. If we are to see sweeps of lows, that's what I'm talking about. The main targets that we were looking at heading into the week, like, hey, it would be cool to see these. A close through this order block, I think, would just take that off the table. That's all I'm saying. So if it happens, it happens. That's great. We'll be watching that. So watch these highs. A sweep of those highs is fine. A body close through the highs would be very close to taking out the mean threshold of this order block. And at that point, could we sweep the high and put in a reversal there? Sure. But I think that would mean that we're doing more downside push than what I'm expecting, because the main thing in the coming weeks that I'm looking for, once again, is a push to this high, this weekly high. So could keep going and push for it. In that case, violate the order block, push through that high, and let's go for it in the next 2 weeks. Other than that, I want to see a little bit of a retracement into these levels, and then a push through that high, to that high, at least sweep it, and we'll see what happens, you know. I think a lot of times in the past, what I would try to do is try to predict things a little too far in the future, right? Say, oh, it's going to retrace here, and it's going to come up here, sweep this high, and then come do this and do that. None of that shit matters, man. We're day trading. We're not fucking swing trading. We're not long-term trading. We're day trading. So all I care about now is what is likely, what I feel like is going to happen, what is going to violate that idea, and if it does violate that idea, then what am I looking at, right? So I want to see respect to this order block overnight. Then we can keep in this range. We want to see session sweeps, displacements put in. We can go for the opposite side of the session sweep. So if we sweep Asia high, right? Let's say London starts, sweeps Asia high, puts in a displacement downwards. We could target Asia lows. If it keeps pushing through that, target the other lows. I mean, the other low is New York PM session low, pretty far away. London could do it. Yeah, let's see how it looks tomorrow when we wake up, open the charts. Still got to do it in the morning. See what happens overnight. See what ideas were crossed off the list, and see what new ideas are out there. All right. Keep one session in your mind at a time, honestly. What do you feel like this session can do? Right? Asia session going on right now. I don't care to trade it. It took highs. What do I feel like it could do? Potentially sweep this high. But it's not showing really anything right now. So other than this displacement, came down into that. So it could take it. Anyway, I'll stop droning on. hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed the music and the new theme. I'm liking this retro wave style here. I did have one that I was trying out that I called Miami Vice, which is decent. It's decent. I think I need to work on the background color, and I didn't like the pink as much. So I went with the Outrun color theme there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed.